This is the light better here. I think this is better. What's going on, everybody? Listen, we need to talk about what's going on in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. I know I'm using a new camera, but we are going to actually do this. You guys, what is going on in the Sean Diddy Combs trial? There is so much happening. The first thing that's happening that nobody actually wants to talk about is, hold on, guys. The first thing that is happening that nobody wants to talk about is what's going on with Diddy and the judge. Let me get my phone. Okay, good morning, everybody. Listen, the fallout just continues, okay? If you guys don't know, right? Jane Doe testified. We are going to call her Jeannie. I do want to say this about the Jane Doe. No, the Jane Doe is not who anybody expects. It's none of Diddy's former or current girlfriends, as far as I can tell. She is not a public-facing figure. A lot of rumors have been thrown around. She's not a public-facing figure, so I don't think that even if somebody said the name, anybody would know who she is. Regardless of that, the court is under straight orders. I do have to say that if you are in the chat, I'm going to have to block you or remove it, even if you put your guesses into Super Chat. We are not going to guess, okay? We are just going to move forward, all right? So let's get into this. All right, listen, there is fallout continuing from what happened with Diddy and the judge in court, okay? The Diddy and the judge in court. If you guys don't know, thank you. We have been working on the transcript front. Thank you so much. I was able to get the transcripts because you guys wanted to know exactly what was said when the judge actually checked Diddy. Let's get into this, all right? He admonished them. But you guys, you have to realize this is also very, very serious. Now, I did a live last night when I pointed out that even after the judge checked him, Diddy was doing these weird power plays. He was getting up after the judge told him, you better sit yourself down before I sit it down. And let me just say this, Judge Aaron has been exceedingly patient. He's been exceedingly patient with the defense. He's been incredibly considerate to the jurors, honoring their time and whatnot. So for you to get on Judge Aaron's side, and he's been literally not being hard on the prosecution, but literally giving clear limits to the prosecution. So when you can get on a judge's bad side where he is being incredibly understanding, it says something. Now, one of the things I said is wait, so the judge told you earlier to tell your client to knock it off. Your client did not, in fact, knock it off. And if you guys don't know, Diddy nodding and signaling to the jury could be looked at as a form of jury tampering. Now, I don't know if Diddy would ever stoop that low, but I do know that from all the mob movies I watch, you don't just show up at every juror's house, because that would actually get it oh my God, they're out here, they're trying to tamper me. What do? You make inroads. You see who's receptive. You see who might be good with the hoo-ha. You see all that stuff and you nod along. And then when you see people that might be very open to what you have to say, what do? You maybe have your friend's associate shows up at their house, their loved one house, with paper bags full of cash. And we all know Diddy loves, according to this testimony, paper bags full of cash. Again, it is the beginning of something. At the very least, it could even be looked at as a mistrial. Diddy's team could even use that as it. It's very, very serious. And the integrity of the jury, baby, that is the hallmark for an American trial. If the jury has no integrity, what are we really doing here? You can't trust anything. You can't trust the process, and it makes everybody a waste of time. Now, what's so shocking about this? The judge has actually spoken to Diddy's team in the past about you need to knock it off. And Diddy still thought he was going to go in there. Now listen, after the judge admonished him, Diddy did this weird alpha male play. We will talk about that. It was weird because at the end of the day, you're asking the judge not for favors, but for extra accommodations that's outside of what people normally do. You're asking the judge for favors, and you're doing all this, and you are playing in the court's place. Diddy really thinks he is like Kid Cudi said, he thinks he is a goddamn super Bond villain. Diddy thinks he is the smartest person in the room. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, all right? So listen, here's what they actually said, right? They said that, okay, so the prosecutors raised the topic, right? They said, the prosecutors raised it. They said, our concern is the defendant is testifying by nodding affirmatively in response alive. I have to get the truth out. They're trying to do it. Sorry, allergies. They're trying to do it through actual, right? Good morning, everybody. They are trying to do it through actual smoke and mirrors. Westmoreland tore Mia up on the stand. And if you weren't paying attention in court, Bono tore Bono up on the stand, right? And if you weren't paying attention, you would think that she had her dead to rights. She called her lying. The balcony thing didn't happen. They thought they were having another Mia moment. However, if you were in the court and you would hear the sidebars, the jury can't hear the sidebars, but the general public can. And the jury's not supposed to be on social media, so they're not supposed to know this, right? When the sidebar happened, there was a text message they were trying to get admitted for September 30th, 2016. Bonner said this happened on September 26th. Yes, the day might have been off a day or two. It happened 20 years ago. But in that text message, Cassie was yelling at KK, saying, Diddy is crazy. This is why I have to stay away. He showed up at the door while my friends were sleeping, ringing the doorbell, acting crazy. He broke into the house, right? And then he dangled her feet off of my balcony and then threw her in the furniture. Cassie was screaming at KK, this is why Diddy's crazy and this is why he has to stay away. There is a text message from how many years ago? 8 years ago, proving it happened exactly the way. And Miss Moreland knew that text message exists and she knew it was going to be admitted after break. Once Borna had left, they knew it was going to be admitted after break, okay? And they still pressed on and they still did it. On top of that, and I was just looking like, yo, this is actually really, really evil. I know you got to get this man off, but can we acknowledge that you guys are not trying to win with the truth? You're just trying to plant seeds of doubt in the jury. There was another issue where there was a guy, Rob Holiday. And if you guys don't know who Rob Holiday is, he used to be one of Bonner's closest friends, but he was friends with Diddy before he was friends with Bonner. And Rob Holiday literally called her 3 days after this alleged incident while he was with Diddy and tried to settle with Bonner. He tried to settle with Bonner. So let me just say this, right? They're trying to say it didn't happen. Diddy tried to settle and they said that settlement was north of $1 million, but they wanted her to settle maybe without a lawyer. Who knows? So Diddy, who's notoriously cheap, who was only paying Ginny, that's the date, Jane Doe, right? She was only paying that girl, victim number two, only paying victim number two $10,000 a month. The escorts were getting paid more than the girls, only paying $10,000 a month. He's notoriously cheap, right? You're telling me that he was offering to settle for north of $1 million. You're telling me that Cassie was screaming at KK about this mofo's crazy, keep him away, but yet you were in front of the jury the whole time. And while that was happening, Diddy was nodding at the jury every time Westmoreland said something like, is it not true? You lied to this jury. And you know that she was telling the truth. And Diddy in the back. And baby, we already said that we do have concerns about the jury, okay? There are people on the jury that seem like they are buying everything Diddy's defense team is selling, and you only need one person. And they are affirmatively showing through their facial expressions, through their body movements, through everything, that they do not buy anything the prosecution is selling. Now, I do have to say that the jury is not supposed to show anything. They're not supposed to discuss the case among themselves. Yes, they are sitting together, but they are not supposed to interact, discuss the case. They are supposed to listen, and when they get into that room, that's when they pour the evidence and they can actually discuss. So what happened, right? Ms. Miser said, I don't have anything more to say on that, but I did. This is USA Attorney Miser. She said, Your Honor, let me read that. This is directly from the transcripts because y'all wanted the full breakdown. And then after I go through this breakdown, we're going to have to get into Diddy's weird alpha male power play that really just had me being like, what's going on? They said, I don't have anything more to say on that, Your Honor, but I do want to put on the record, Your Honor, that we understand the defendant is nodding furiously in response to some of the questioning. And so we just wanted to make that clear on record. The court said, outside the presence of the jury, because even the court, as Judge Aaron, he was like, wait, like when the jury's not around, right? Because to break one of y'all. Who would be dumb enough to do that? Oh, I also want to give a shout out to Violet Storm. Said we had this in BC with Robert Bitcoin on with the SK. Thank you so much. That is a good point. That is a good point. Y'all did have that same thing going on. Okay. Okay. So anyway, the court said, wait, he was doing that like outside the presence of the jury? She said, no, not in the presence of the jury, Your Honor, in response to Miss Westmoreland's questioning, okay? Then Diddy's lawyer popped up, Shapiro. Your Honor, I think that's what Your Honor was asking of us to take care of. That was my interpretation, to remind Mr. Combs of the court's instructions. How many times are people going to emphasize Diddy? The fact that, Tony and Martin said, God bless you, T, so proud of you. Thank you. Oh, don't forget ABC Live interview, Nightline live interview, and there's a lot of cool things coming up too. So thank you so much. If you guys do go watch it, please jump in the comment box and let them know the comments and let them know that you're there to support me. But I really appreciate you guys because you guys did the big one. You guys did the big one with supporting me with that, okay? You guys did the big one, okay? So anyway, how long are we going to act like Diddy don't know the rules? Diddy knows the rules. That's why you are sitting in jail right now. And not only that, they said this isn't the first time that the judge has had to say something privately to Diddy, but he kept on going. Again, Diddy thinks it's his courtroom. And for everybody saying that they don't think Diddy is going to take the stand, that man is 100% going to take the stand. Somebody with that type of ego, he is 100%. Anyway, they said, so Judge Aaron says, well, I'm concerned. I'm concerned in both directions of improperly influencing the jury. So what would you propose to put on the record that's in the presence of the jury? Okay. Then again, Miss Comey, that's Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter. She's really, really good. Said, I really respect her direct and her style. She said, Your Honor, I'm not suggesting that Miss Westmoreland was intentionally trying to do this. I'm suggesting that the defendant is himself trying to take advantage of the leading questions without Miss Westmoreland's knowledge to testify by nodding vigorously yes in response to her questions. Again, when I say this is the foundation of dealing with the jury, you must be human. You don't even need to be American, right? Because federal court deals with foreign lawsuits. You must be human. You must be in the Southern District of New York, and you cannot signal, nod, or do anything to the jury, right? She said, Ms. Shapiro said, Your Honor, I don't think that's fair, but I will. Since I'm sitting at the counsel table, I'll go over to him before the questioning resumes and re-warn him of Your Honor's admonishment. Earlier that day, he said, I don't want anybody signaling, nodding, or doing anything to the jury, right? Judge Aaron said, all right, let's proceed. So that's how the day started. And how did the day end? Diddy kept pressing. Diddy kept doing this, right? So they said, let me make a record, Mr. Agnifilio, because he kept on doing it. He says, Mr. Agnifilio, I was very clear this morning that there were not to be any facial expressions or other attempts to have any interaction with the jury whatsoever. Any influence on the jury whatsoever. And I could not have been clearer in terms of what I said. You heard me, right? Mr. Agnifilio, Yana, yes, Yana, we heard you. We did, I did. The court, well, there was a line of questioning where your client was nodding vigorously and looking at the jury. And there was a subsequent moment. We had a sidebar, and I looked. And I saw your client looking at the jury and nodding vigorously during that line of questioning. That is absolutely unacceptable. Is it going to happen again, Mr. Arthilio? Yeah, Diana, it's not going to happen again. One proud Army mama said, morning sunshine, so proud of you. Have a wonderful, blessed day. You too. Thank y'all so much. And thank y'all for getting up early with me. I hope y'all watching this, at least on replay. Put your earphones in. Your boss ain't talking about nothing. He been or she been on your butt since last Tuesday. Let Jan and accountant do it. Anyway, unless you are Jan and accountant, then let Tammy and sales do it. Okay, right? The court said, no, you don't understand. It cannot happen again. If it happens again, if it happens even